Hello and welcome. My name is Bubba. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be going over the new Rainbow Six Siege. I'll be going over some game footage. I'll be going over some little kind of information that I've found out just by watching the interviews and by piecing some things from some videos that I've seen together. I will start off today by I'll go over just what the game is about. It's a 5-on-5 attack and defend. Before the game starts, what you're watching now is we're watching the attackers. They get a chance to release some drones to do a little bit of searching, a little bit of information gathering. And the other 5 is going to be your defenders. They have a hostage situation, so their first minute, they're able to set up barricades, set up traps to hide the hostage, and to figure out their game plan. As you can see on the left, both teams will have options on where they want to spawn. Right now the attackers, there's only 2 options, the front and the back. In the E3 demo video, they actually showed rooftop access, but that looks like has been taken out. As the round starts, as you can see, it's a 3-minute round, and each game has 3 rounds. Best 2 out of 3 wins. Each time a round ends, the attackers switch to defenders and vice versa. Now the attackers, there's 2 ways for them to win. They can either take out all of the defenders, or they could successfully, safely escort the hostage outside of the building. The defenders, on the other hand, they can either run out the timer of 3 minutes to win, or they can just kill all the attackers. The developers built this game with the core idea in mind of keeping the full control in the player's hands so that there's no cinematic actions at all. The player is always in control of his weapon. That means for even if he's like repelling, if he's setting up a trap or something, that there's no kind of like little movie action where you're stuck in an animation. The player can always move, the player can always shoot. Each side will have 3 classes each. Each class will be specific in different strength. As you can see in front of you, the one guy has a riot shield, like that's your point man class. I will actually be doing another video once I get a little bit more information put together about the different classes and the different kind of equipment and different weapons that each class can have. For the weapons in the game, the weapons will have recoils, similar to Counter-Strike, and gadgets. Attackers be getting different gadgets than the defenders. Like for example, the attackers will have those drones that you saw earlier. The drones can be used to kind of see where the enemy is. Kind of knowing where the enemy is going to be a huge part of the game. It'll give a huge advantage. A good example is, as you can see here, one of the gadgets for the attackers is the breaching charge, which can be used to make different access points. And one of the cool things is blowing a hole in the floor and dropping in from above and just taking everybody out. Another one of the things that I want to mention is, again, want to talk a little bit about the drones, as I think they're going to be a big part in the game. Is that they can be destroyed. In some of the videos, it just seems like their defenders are kind of oblivious to them, but you can see them and you can shoot them and they will break. So that's always good to know. The defenders, some of their gadgets that we've seen so far is like they can set up a kind of a barricaded wall, set that up in strategic places. But they can also set up kind of wall fortifications, things that you can like put on walls, or I think even over doors, that can only be kind of broken through by the attacker's breaching charge. So as you see there, round 1 is just ending, and round 2, it'll show you the score, show you your kills, your deaths, and then it'll switch over to round 2 to show you the defender side. But I'm going to keep going over some of the things the defenders, since the attackers get drones, the defenders, they actually get access to cameras in the house. They can only, 1 player at a time can access it, but when they're in rooms and stuff, they can kind of check over the cameras and see where the attackers are in the house, to give them an idea where they're heading. when a player dies, the dead player can actually kind of go through video footage of like what the drones are seeing or what the kind of cameras are seeing, and relay that information back to its fellow players. So just because you killed a player doesn't make him completely out of the game either. He can still be there to help his teammate. And now, one thing I'd like to point out, as we're watching the defenders now, it looks as though the kind of window coverings, same thing for the door coverings, they seem to have an infinite amount of them, so as much time as you have, you can just keep putting them up. But as you see in his middle of the screen, to the left and the right of his compass, to the left, one of his gadgets is that kind of wire mesh. That mesh will slow down the attackers, and it'll also, as the attackers are trying to run over it, that it'll kind of, they'll obviously give like grunts or pain sounds, but anyways, it'll give you an audio cue, and these audio cues are kind of everywhere in the game. And another thing I'd like to mention that I probably should have mentioned earlier, with the hostage, whatever, like if one of the teams kills the hostage, that team automatically loses too. So keeping the hostage safe, or I guess even using the hostage as kind of a meat shield if the other team kills them, then your team wins, be another tactic too. With all the destruction, I think it'll be interesting to kind of see what else they can do with that. As for this map or any other maps that they create, obviously a house is kind of your main idea on what to make for destruction, so it'll be interesting to see what other kind of maps that they come out with, and whether destruction will be as much as this, or if it'll be kind of be toned down for the other maps. It'll be interesting to see the kind of tactics that are created by some of the people with the destruction, and whether or not like some walls that you can break through and some you can't. One thing I've noticed watching their videos is whenever they set a breaching charge on the floor, it's always in the same room and pretty much the same spot. So whether or not you can actually breach the floor in multiple areas, or whether it's just specific rooms, which obviously you can't necessarily blow up the entire house, but it'll just be interesting to see what you can or really can't do. But in the meantime, it looks like that's their only floor breach charge, so in all the videos, whenever they do that, that's where they usually break and enter the room. Based on everything we know, based on everything we can see, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good game. It's going to be a game really meant for kind of the hardcore kind of player, the hardcore kind of game, which I think we're long due for, and we're long due for another Rainbow Six game. I think that this game's going to be, it's visually stunning. I think it's a lot better looking than Counter-Strike, and the kind of player base that Counter-Strike is. The game has no specific release date. It is meant to come out sometime this year, but judging by kind of the amount of information we have on it and the repetitive game footage that we have on it, my guess would be that it'll be coming out late at the end of this year. Hopefully that we'll be getting a lot more information on it, that they'll be kind of releasing some more footage, some different maps, maybe an idea of different game modes. There's in one of their interviews they kind of mentioned bringing back some of the old game modes that players kind of loved for some of the old Rainbow Six players, but definitely see it bringing in a lot of new players too. There's a lot of stuff going on in this video. There's a lot of information to be shared. There's a lot of really exciting new things that they're doing with this game. I'm really hoping that they succeed and they pull through on their promises. I'll be making other videos about kind of the idea of some of the attackers and strategies for the attackers, as well as the defenders and strategies for the defenders, and any other kind of some of the information that they release. I'll just be making some videos on those. So if you like this video, hit like or subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I'll see you guys another day.